My name is AISHA Augie. I am the Creator General CEO of the 1960 Company and the Center for Art and Creative Talent. I am also the Special Advisor to the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning in Nigeria. I think I would say that I never saw, gender as an issue. The culture, yes, that was also a problem, but all of these things were what propelled me to actually achieve. As a photographer in northern Nigeria, there were hardly any there was actually no female photographer that I knew about, except one other person who was living in London at the time. So many of our stories weren't being told. Many of the spaces were due to culture and religion, men were not allowed in. We didn't have those stories. So that was a great opportunity for me to be able to bridge that gap and open up the movement of information from that side of the country. I think also seeing a male-dominated profession, all of these things for me was just good because I was able to stand out. My work became very visible just because I was female. So I think for me, it didn't really cause problems per se, but gave me more opportunities. Talking about creativity as a hobby, for me, yes, in the early years of my life, I thought creativity was a hobby because most people around me never saw it as a job. But when I started out, I realized the way you present yourself and how you package yourself and what you look like, sound like, if you give it a corporate feel, people start to see you that way. So I really feel it's just how you market yourself. These stereotypes have changed a lot. Nowadays, you have younger people who are coming up with jobs and opportunities for themselves that our generation and maybe the generation before us saw as hobbies. It's changed. For example, the name Creator General came from a young person who really didn't care whether I was a girl or a boy, and he was a boy. One of the major challenges in the creative sector is access to finance. You have a lot of creatives who put in their entire energy into creating, and that takes a lot. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of mental capacity. We don't really want to think about business, but most creatives are able to now realize that, okay, what I love as a passion can also make me money. And one of the huge challenges is getting people to invest in you, especially those who really see your creative work as something that hasn't been done before, because that's really what makes you a creative. Creators and innovators tend to do things differently. So it's very hard to get people on board until they begin to see it manifest. And then that's when it makes sense. So as an early creative getting into the industry, it is really hard if you want to do business. But one thing I know about the creative sector is almost every creative job creates other jobs. And the value creation keeps you going. We tend to see things very passionately, so we don't give up. So I think for a lot of the creatives who have made it, it's their passion that keeps driving them, and they would rather do that and be broke than to not do it at all. I think the intellectual property has a huge role in addressing what creatives can and cannot do. So if, for example, I take a photograph and it is used all over the world without me earning anything from it, that's bad. But if people can understand that I created this, for some it's just a photograph, but for me it could be something that even my great-grandchildren can earn from. So I think the World IP Day is such an important day for all of us as creatives. I think World IP Day opens up the minds of people towards the awareness of understanding intellectual property and what it means. And I am really, really excited about WIPO and the National Copyrights Commission coming together to support women within the IP space. Today, on World Intellectual Property Day, I would like to say thank you to the World Intellectual Property Organization, the National Copyrights Commission, and every other agency, individual, or organization that is supporting the push for women to make it within the different sectors that require intellectual property documentation. Thank you so much, and happy World Intellectual Property Day.